Hello, my name is Allie, and welcome to Funny Fat Friend, a podcast about this bodacious biracial babe trying to find herself in film. Here's an update. We have been protesting here in Louisville for 363 days for justice. We're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the start of protesting here in Injustice Square, and if you are in the Louisville area, come down to the Social Justice Fair happening on Friday, the 28th, which should be tomorrow if you're listening on the day this comes out. As usual, you can find a link to the wish list for supplies we are in need of for protesters. If you can give to the Louisville Bail Fund, please do. Charges are being pursued. It's been a minute. How have you been? You doing all right? Hope you've been well. Drinking water, doing things to feel good. I've been what some could say is busy. I was in a musical called Company. Some of you may have heard of it. It'll be coming out soon. And I'm now currently producing a one-woman show for the Women's Theater Festival Fringe Showcase happening this July. So, your girl's still making shit, just not on this platform. But I've really missed this fucking platform, and I miss you all so very much. And I'm making time to bring it back more consistently and in a way that I think I'll be able to manage. Wish me luck, and I also hope that you enjoy the changes that I have made. We'll see. That's my update. So let's just get into why we're all here, right? Let's discuss the film I've decided to come back with, which is going to be the launch of our 80s summer babies. We're doing an 80s summer. Today's film is the 1989 classic Weekend at Bernie's. It had a budget of $15 million and made $30.2 million. Well, actually, that's what the studio says it made, but it's some fucking drama, and we'll discuss that later. But it was enough to spawn a sequel. And fun fact, I saw the sequel to this film at least 100 times before I ever watched the original. So I guess it's just like this weird thing that I do. Like with Sister Act, I've only seen the second one. But I did finally watch this film for the first time, Weekend at Bernie's, several years ago. And this was like my third or fourth go around watching it, preparing for this episode. Okay, anyways, we're going to jump into it. Here's how things are kind of going to change. So usually, I go wildly descriptive and move beat by beat through the entire film. Mama, I'm kind of scaling that back a bit, at least just for this summer. I will probably still ramble. I know that I will still ramble. But I have made a more succinct synopsis that I'm going to go through. I will still talk about things, but it's definitely not going to be nearly as detailed. And also, maybe you want to watch this film. I don't want to spoil it. No, I don't actually care. If you know, I don't care. And you know what to expect by now. But anyway, just to prepare you, I'm not going to be 1 second in this happens anymore. Great. Glad we have set the stage. Let's see if it works. Here we go. The beginning of the film. We got two guys. Just two boys. We got Larry and Richard. Which, Larry is played by Andrew McCarthy. Who, played Blaine in Pretty in Pink. Which I assume I'm gonna do Pretty in Pink. Oh my god. It's definitely one of my favorites. Is it terrible? Is it? I don't know. I haven't watched it since college, but in college I still loved it. But I guess I've also grown considerably mentally since college. Isn't that wild? So maybe it's really bad. It might be really bad. There are some things that are uncomfortable in it. Oh no, now I'm thinking about it too hard. Well, we'll talk about it when we get to Pretty in Pink. I've said it, so I guess I'm gonna do it eventually. But yeah, he played Blaine, which is the boring love interest in Pretty in Pink, and he's playing a very oddball, kooky guy in Weekend at Bernie's. And Jonathan Silverman plays Richard, and I don't know what he does. I read that he became like an editor or something for National Geographic. So that's cool for him. Good for him. Sweet. So we're in New York City. The pals are walking through Central Park. It's super hot outside. They're on their way to go to work. They work at an insurance agency. And they have to like come in on like the weekend. It's super hot out. And they're walking through Central Park when this like white dude runs up on them and like tries to like hold them up, like he's like a stick up in broad daylight. Just like in the middle of the park. And Larry just goes, "Get your ass out of here. It's too hot." Whew. And he just like goes away and they keep walking. And we see like kids splashing around in fire hydrants. It's very fun. Yeah, so they go into their job. They work for an insurance corporation, and they're actuary? I don't know what that is. But anyway, they're looking at some reports. It's super hot. They're upset when Richard discovers a series of payments that were coming in all for the same dead guy. So like it's like the insurance payout like for your life insurance. This dude had died a bunch of times and he was like, "Oh, that'll seem right." So, thinking that they've really fucking done it, Richard and Larry go to their CEO, Bernie Lomax. What a name. What a goddamn name. Bernie Lomax, to like, tell him that they found all this like missing money and there's been a mistake and like they feel like they're gonna be heroes, which Bernie does like commend them for their little discovery. But of course, as soon as they leave, we find out that it was him. Like, he is behind the insurance fraud, is just like embezzling all this money, and has like this mob boss partner that he calls, and is like, yo, the jig is up. Somebody has found us out. What do I do? And the mob boss man is like, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take care of these boys. So Bernie invites the boys to go out to the Hamptons to his beach house for a celebratory weekend. It's like Memorial Day weekend, I think. Or it's like Labor Day. Oh, it's Labor Day. It's Labor Day weekend. Meanwhile, we get a little bit of more of an insight into Richard's character. The sweet, sweet little boy who was not Blaine in Pretty in Pink, but works for National Geographic now. Richard is trying to romance this girl whose name I don't remember. Oh, is it Tina? I'm not sure. He's trying to romance this girl, and they go to dinner, and then he brings her back to his apartment, which is like really nice. And she's like, "Wow, you got like such a nice place." And he's like, "Oh yeah, it's no big deal. It's really, like used to be my parents, but they died in a train accident." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, like I always thought the trains were more like safe than airplanes." And he's like, "Oh, actually it's pretty wild. An airplane crashed into the train and that's how they died." And then, because this is a comedy, an old man in his underwear comes out of like a bedroom, and of course it is Richard's dad, but he's like, "Oh, that's the butler." Sometimes he's just like, out in his underwear. But of course the ruse falls apart. It's his parents. He lives with his parents, and it's all a big flub, and it's comedy gold. All right. Okay, so Bernie meets with the mob boss. Mob boss decides after the meeting that the real person he needs to take care of is Bernie. He needs to fucking just murder Bernie. He's gonna murder Bernie, not these little boys who found him out. So Bernie goes out to his Hamptons house, and mob boss man kills him with heroin. He overdoses on heroin and is just sitting on his couch when the boys arrive to the house. Bernie's just sitting up on his little couch in his fun little tracksuit, and before he gets murdered, he was on the phone, and the actual conversation he has got recorded onto the answering machine, and that is important. Yep. And yeah, oh god, this is all important. I'm sorry. So I thought I was more organized with this version of events, but now I'm not when I'm it's fine. Anyway, before Bernie gets murdered, he plants a bunch of cash and a fake confession implicating Larry and Richard in the insurance fraud to kind of clear his name. Sweet. And then he gets murdered. Then Larry and Richard arrive at Bernie's house, and of course they are shaken to find Bernie's body. And oh my god, Richard really wants to call the police, and Larry is all like, "What? I don't know. We don't know what happened. Oh my god!" And of course, a bunch of people all of a sudden show up at Bernie's house for a party. Apparently in the Hamptons, there are just roving parties around that just move house to house, bebop around. And so a whole party of people shows up at Bernie's, and no one notices. No one notices that this man is dead, sitting on his couch. To be fair, he does have this little smirk on his face. He's like, I don't know why. And the actor who played Bernie, Terry Kisser, talked about how when he would get to set and they'd start shooting, he'd put as soon as he did the little smirk, he would just fall into a meditative state. Just be gone for the rest of the scene. It's very incredible. It is really wild that they had him actually it was a real actor through all of this, all these shenanigans that they're about to go through with this body. So yeah, no one notices that this man is hella dead. And the party starts to wrap up. Of course, Richard and Larry are a bit concerned, that maybe people will think that they have something to do with his death since they were invited there and they're the only ones that seem to know that he's dead. So Larry decides that they should just keep up the charade of Bernie being not dead. Which, of course, Richard is our straight man to the funny man of Absurd Larry. It was naughty. No, there's no way. That doesn't make any sense. That'll be a mess. We should not do that. But as soon as... Oh, her name's Gwen. The girl that he went on a date with shows up to the Hamptons. And he's all like, oh, word? Oh, maybe we should keep it going, because he finds out that she's actually interning for their company for the summer. And that makes him decide that they should keep the charade of Bernie being alive. Alive? There's not much logic in this film at all. It's beautiful though. Okay. Later that night, the mob boss's girlfriend, turns out, was sleeping with Bernie. Ayo. And she arrives at the house. And Richard and Larry just tell her to go to Bernie's bedroom. And somehow Homegirl goes in there for a while and comes out and is like, wow, that's the best it's ever been. Ooh. I don't every time I think I understand the joke, I don't. Because it's like, oh, it's because he was so bad at sex that sex when he was dead was better than that. But also, how would they? And she wouldn't. You know? It's best not to dwell, I guess. Yeah, it's best not to dwell. Anyway, she just doesn't notice that he's dead, and we have that uncomfortableness. Also, while she's there, one of the mob bosses, hitmen, sees them, getting it on. And he thinks that, Bernie's still alive. So what was, how? I don't understand. So, yeah, so the assassin, tells the mob boss that, he didn't die, that he's still alive. Next day, Richard finds out that Larry has been, really, really, really working this dead Bernie thing. He has set up, little levees and things to... levees. Little pulleys to make his arms move so he can wave at people that walk by. He's done all this stuff. He is, fully working it. And it grosses Richard out really bad, which is very fair. And Richard is like, we just have to go to the police at this point. But when he's trying to call the police, he accidentally hits play on the voicemail machine? Sure. And of course, they hear the whole recorded, interaction of them talking about how they were going to kill the two of them and stuff like that. And so they're like, oh, shit. So, they think now that they are still the targets of the mob hit. So, they decide to just, make it seem like Bernie's still alive to keep them alive. The logic is flawed. Okay, so they're like, alright, we need to get out of here. Gotta get out of Dodge. But every time they try and leave, something gets in the way. Bernie's body, falls down the stairs and, they gotta go pick it up. He just keeps showing up places when they're trying to leave. He, washes up on the shore of the beach at one point somehow, because he, fell into, a little wheelbarrow and then fell down some stairs and then all this wild-ass shit. And people, move him around, will be, drunk and will, have their arm around him, pick him up and they walk around. It's wild. It's very wild. So they keep being, stopped, essentially, by this full corpse of a man, and, so they have to get him back to the house and, try and figure it out. But, luckily for us, we have a smart woman in our midst. This poor sweet girl that, Richard is trying to be with. She is finally like, hey, what the fuck is up, Kyle? What is going on with this goddamn man? Y'all are being weird as hell. And they are like, okay, word, yeah, Bernie's fucking been dead all week. And, as soon as they get that reveal, the mob boss's, hitman shows up and just starts blowing up the place with bullets, just trying to kill Bernie. And then he notices Larry, Richard, and Gwen are there, and he's like, oh shit, witnesses. And so we have this very intense chase sequence, and he tries to kill them, Polly corners Larry, who clumsily manages to subdue him with a phone cord and a punch. And for the first time ever, the police arrive. Even though there's been explosions, there are coked up, heroined up people all over this place, and there's no police presence, whatever. Ain't that just the way with some rich-ass white people? Sure. So yeah, the police come and they arrest the mob man, who they take away, like, in a straitjacket because he is sure that Bernie is still alive. Like, they have puppeteered this man so much that he is like, nah, Bernie won't die. I keep killing this motherfucker. Bernie is then taken into an ambulance for some reason. But luckily, we get to see another fun Pratt thing where he is on a gurney and it rolls away and falls off the boardwalk and dumps him onto the beach right next to Richard, Larry, and Gwen. And so they run away and they're scared. And eventually a young boy comes along and starts scooping buckets of sand over Bernie's body, burying him. And that's the film. Wow, right? Wow. Doesn't it just seem... How is that a whole movie? You know, like, how is that a whole... One, how is that a plot that the boss is dead? That's the plot, is that the boss is dead. So I'm not going to say I didn't like it. I did really enjoy it. I thought it was very fun. It's really bad. It's a very, very bad film, and I would not recommend watching it, especially now, because, like, I had to fucking pay for it. It used to be streaming on HBO, and now it's not. And I had to pay for it, and it sucks. Don't pay for it. But if it's just, like, on... I do recommend watching it. I think IFC has been playing it a bunch recently, because I also saw if I had, like, live TV that I could get it on demand with IFC. But, you know, we ain't out in these streets. Who has live TV anymore besides, like, people's parents? My parents do. So, like, other people's parents. But yeah, Weekend at Bernie's. This movie also birthed a dance craze in the mid-2000s, like Bernie. I remember my senior year of high school, my best friend and I made up a dance to do at, like, our senior, like, lock-in or whatever. And we, like, did all the, like, popular dances from when we had been in school. And the Bernie was the last one. So, we won a trophy. Yeah. But yeah, like Bernie. And it's just where you, like, lean back and pretend to be dead. It is, like, I commend the actor who played Bernie, because he, like, legitimately got fucked up physically. Like, they threw his body all around. And, oh yeah, I even, like have some, did some research. He broke 3 ribs during the course of the filming. He had a nerve in the back of his neck pressed down that it caused violent dizziness when they kept dropping him on the couch on his head. He got really messed up. And there were a couple days that they had to carry him to set and just put him in position because he was so physically, like, mangled. And it's not, he didn't do all of his own stunts. There was actually, like, some stunt guys. And they were hurt, too. Because, like, they weren't trained to pretend to be dead bodies thrown around places. You know, like, most stunts are, like, action film things, like jumping out of a building and stuff like that. Or, like, fight sequences. This is just someone, like, throwing your body around. But one of the stunt doubles doubles had to get 17 stitches in his face because he fell straight down and just like tore his face off. My God. It's bonkers. It's bonkers. What a bonkers film. Anyway, okay, Rotten Tomatoes. It has a 54%. Roger Ebert gave it 1 star. And just like tore it to shreds. Letterboxd, it has a 3 out of 5, which is pretty good. That's pretty good. It's like 60%. It's a little bit better. But like most of the reviews I read on Letterboxd even were like, this is the worst. Ooh. Let's talk about some drama real quick though. So, I said that it made $30.2 million, right? At the box office. So, in 2014, 20th Century Fox and MGM were sued for breach of contract by director Ted Kotcheff? And writer Robert Klein. Oh, God. Because they said that they had not received, like, enough money, that the gross box office receipts for what were called one of the most hilarious and endearing goofball comedies of the 80s were more than $30 million, and the residuals for further revenue from Bernie's equal more than $16 million, is what they said. They said that they had been deprived of at least hundreds of millions of dollars, which I do not believe them. And this was the statement they made a couple of years later. To our dismay, we learned that it was too late for us to sue. Because, yeah, the film came out in 1989. And they sued in 2014. So, yeah, there's a statute of limitation on lawsuits dealing with company profits after the 10-year mark. So, there they are. But apparently MGM still agreed to give them, like, their share of the profits that were made in the time after. Which is pretty wild that they did that. Which, today, Amazon bought out MGM. Damn it, so I bet fucking Weekend at Bernie's is probably going to be on fucking Amazon. Damn it! I bought that bitch. Now I own it. I could have just waited. Whatever. You know, it's okay. It's okay. Everybody's okay. But yeah, at least, like, I do commend them for, like, suing the studio. That doesn't happen very often. And it's like, go off, you know? Go off. Oh, man. Apparently a lot of people have fought also for, like, the rights to, like, be able to remake it. I saw one reviewer was talking about, like, how they wanted someone to remake it and kind of make it, like, put social media at kind of the center of it. Like, I guess, like I don't know, like, I think that would make it a little spooky. Keeping someone alive, you know, like, on social media. When you find them dead. I really don't like that. It grosses me out. I don't like that. But I guess it's kind of, I don't know how it would be funny. It wouldn't be funny. It would just be sad and scary. It'd be an HBO, like, mini-series. That's what it would be. What do y'all think? Do you think that could work? I don't know. Okay, so yeah, my thesis. Do I relate to Weekend at Bernie's? No, there are, like, literally no people of color in this whole thing. That's the 80s. That's the big thing. That's going to be a continued thing probably in the 80s. I don't know. When did Coming to America come out? Maybe I'll do Coming to America. And some, like, Eddie Murphy films. Yeah. We'll see. But that's also, like, a big thing. It's like, it's all or none. in the 80s, pretty much. It was still very much in the coming out of the blaxploitation film industry of the earlier decades of, like, segregated cinema. Yeah, it'll be interesting. But yeah, we'll do Weekend at Bernie's too, but of course, we have to discuss Weekend at Bernie's too. Since I've seen it over 100 times. And the reason I've seen it so much is when I was a kid, I had like a TV that had like a little VCR as part of it, you know, that was like, it was all built together. And I had watched Weekend at Bernie's too. We had it on VHS. For some reason, we only had it on VHS. We did not have the first one. Grandparents, explain. But yeah, we only had the second one on VHS. And I had like put it in there and it got stuck. I couldn't get it out, so it was the only movie I could watch on my TV. And so I did. I watched it a lot. Oh, there are black people in that one. So that'll be exciting. It's racist. But, you know. Of course it is. But yeah, Weekend at Bernie's. How many stars would I give it? I'd give it 2. It's a 2 out of 5 for me. Weekend at Bernie's. Like, it's an enjoyable thing to watch. Mainly because it's just shocking of like, oh, for real? You did that? Oh, for real? There were a lot of people that this went through? And this is what we're doing? No, for real? Fashion, though? Oh my god, the fashion, though? That shit's sick. I might be Bernie for Halloween. That'd be pretty fun. It's a sick little sweatsuit he's got. Little tracksuit. It's one of those that goes whoosh, 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 whoosh. See, that also should have been a dead giveaway. That motherfucker was never swishing around. You know? People would have instantly been like, why aren't you swishing? You're dead. Because even just breathing in those things makes noise. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Wow. Yeah. So that's it. I don't have any more to say, really. I know that this isn't as long as what we're used to doing. But that's okay. Maybe the next one will be longer because I'll be more prepared. I don't know. I was pretty prepared, but still, it was a jumbled mess. We'll see. We'll figure out the happy medium. I really wanted to put something out because I really missed you all, and I missed doing this and getting to just talk about dumbass weird shit I like. And let me know. Hit me up. Suggest 80s films that you love, because I've seen some 80s films. I've seen like John Hughes, those, which I don't love very much, except for Pretty in Pink, which I'm definitely gonna do. But like other than that, I don't know that many 80s films. Is Teen Witch an 80s film? Is that a thing? Is Love Potion number 9 an 80s film? Is that a thing? Is that a movie? I think it's a movie. I think I've seen it. I don't know. I don't know that many 80s films. Let me know. Is the Hobbit cartoon, is that an 80s film? Should I do that? Feels like it's older than that, right? What are animated films from the 80s? Like, bleh, I don't know. I can't name any. I don't know. Is that the one, The Sword in the Stone? What's that? The Sorcerer's Apprentice or something? I don't know. No, that's a Nick Cage movie. No, I'm talking about The Cauldron. The Black Cauldron. Is that the name of it? Is that the 80s? Is that the 70s? Time is wild. Alright, I have to stop. It's time for me to stop. I hope you're all well. I hope you stay wonderfully safe and feeling good. It's warm outside and people are getting vaccinated. I hope you've gotten to get vaccinated. And if you have not, I hope you will. And hopefully I can see you. Get vaccinated and we can hang out. If you're here. If you're not, maybe we can still hang out. Maybe I'll come see you. Okay, alright. Well, I've been Allie, as you know. Your friendly neighborhood fat friend. And I would I would tell people that your parents died in a train getting hit by a plane accident any day for you. Oh no. Oh no. Alright, well, I'll talk at you next time. Bye.